Oh, the one that says archaic kingdom?
Yeah. In this unit, basically, we've covered the general taxonomy, about what is taxonomy, how we classify things, the different taxonomic levels. And what we're going to do now is start to talk about each kingdom one at a time. Some of them we're just going to go through very quickly. Like today, we're going to go through archaea and bacteria real quickly. Others we'll spend a little bit more time on. Protists we'll spend some more time on. Plants, animals, we'll spend extra time on those. And so we'll start with a couple of those right now. So let's start with archaea. Archaea, we talked about sort of briefly. What domain would you find archaea in? Campbell?
Not sure.
Joe?
Is it Euchera?
No? Jaden?
Well, I don't know the answer. I can't find my password. It's not.
I'll look in the drawer. Danielle? Its own domain. It's called archaea. So the domain for archaea, that you find those organisms, it's called archaea. And so is the kingdom as well. So it has its own domain, its own kingdom. And archaea includes organisms that are unicellular, so they're single celled. What's the term we use for their nucleus? Camel?
Prokaryote and eukaryote?
Yeah, I'm asking which one.
Oh, eukaryote?
Which one? Confident?
Yeah. Alright.
Yeah. They're prokaryotes, which means they don't have a nucleus surrounded by a membrane. Their DNA is scattered throughout the cytoplasm. It also means they don't have, technically they don't have other organelles, other membrane-bound organelles, like chloroplast or ER, mitochondria. So they don't have organelles. So they have other structures, other parts within the cell that fulfill their life functions, but they don't have membrane-bound organelles.
Are they alive very long?
Yeah.
And you said
What did we say about their food? What is their means of nutrition? Danielle?
Most of them are autotrophs.
Yes, they're autotrophs, but they're different than what we usually think of as autotrophs. The autotrophs we're more familiar with get food by doing what? Photosynthesis. Archaea often utilize something else, something called chemosynthesis. So chemosynthesis is making food molecules out of chemicals in their environment. So rather than relying on light energy to power that process, they capture energy from within the chemicals in their surroundings. That's why it's called chemosynthesis. The prefix chemo means chemicals. Synthesis means to build. Joe?
What's that big thing over there?
Don't worry about it. Campbell?
so if there's like a nuclear reaction, would they like turn the energy from the nuclear reaction to food?
No, there's inorganic molecules in their surroundings, and they have sort of different types of chemical metabolic reactions that can harvest the energy from them. They reproduce through a process that's called binary fission. It's a means of asexual reproduction. Let's break down that word. What does the prefix bi mean? Two, like bicycle. Two. Binary. Where have you heard that term, binary?
Well, sort of binomial.
Okay, binomial meant two names. Yep. Binary. Like, have you ever heard of computers work on a binary language? Have you heard that term?
Yeah. Binary code.
A binary code. Because in computers, everything is either a 1 or a 0, on or off. It's in two states. Or a binary solar system has two stars. Does anyone know the name of a fictional binary So, or a planet in a fictional binary solar system? Tatooine. From A New Hope, you know, Luke's, the wind's blowing through his hair, he's looking out at the horizon, what's happening?
He's drinking
Two suns are setting. He's thinking about how he could get off of this planet.
His face.
The wind's blowing
I was
through
gonna
his
say Krypton.
feathered hair.
I'm
Not
going
Krypton.
to.
So binary fission basically means splitting into two parts. As you know from nuclear energy, fission means to split. And so organisms that reproduce through binary fission, basically they just split in two. We have one cell, the DNA copies, the cell pinches and splits into two. You started with one organism, you end up with two. It's reproduction, but it's asexual reproduction. These offspring are going to be identical to the original parent offspring.
Does bisexual mean like the same thing? No.
No.
That's two parents. Wait. So do the parents die and turn into the
No, it's just there's two new organisms. So archaea were first identified in extreme environments, in areas where scientists thought nothing could probably live in this geyser or in this deep sea vent. And that's where they were first discovered. Since they were discovered there and scientists sort of identified this brand new type of organism, they subsequently have found them all over the world in normal conditions as well. But they were first identified in extreme conditions. That's why they're sometimes called extremophiles. What is phile or philia? Anyone know what that means? It's the opposite of phobia.
So you thrive in something and you're not scared of it?
So phobia is a fear of something. Philia is an attraction to something or an ability to withstand that. So somebody has arachnophobia is scared of spiders. Somebody that's an arachnophilia likes spiders. Okay. So we have words for these. Extremophile that can survive extremely high temperatures is called a thermophile.
Where do we write this? We don't have that.
Yeah, I have a slightly different list. The one with the temperature at the top, that's thermophile.
Okay.
You don't have this one. There's also a term for organisms that can survive at extremely low temperatures. They're called cryophiles. Like cryogenic. Have you ever heard that term, cryogenic?
Yeah, we know this.
Yeah, some people have their bodies frozen after they die. Their hopes is that someday, thousands of years from now in the future, humans will have discovered some means of like repairing what they died of and reviving them. And so they freeze themselves after death in hopes that they're going to be revived someday in the future and brought back to life.
Should we write that
Like
later?
Captain America died. But he didn't die.
All right. Acidophiles can survive very acidic conditions.
So an acid rain.
Not lower than acid rain. Xerophiles is dry. I don't think you have it. Do you have that
Yeah,
one?
we have
Okay.
it. Cold.
Dry conditions. Halophiles live in extremely salt-heavy environments, or even high-pressure environments. Are called barophiles. They live in areas like deep in the ocean floor where there's immense pressure.
What about
So
the dry?
these are examples. Like I said, archaea have been found in normal conditions as well. So not only in these extreme conditions. Some scientists feel that these archaea, these extremophiles, were some of the first forms of life on Earth because conditions in the early Earth were much different than they are today. They're much more extreme.
Mr. Giros?
Yes.
What do we do for grow in extremely dry conditions?
Xerophile, Xero.
Wait.
So that's all we're going to mention really for the archaea kingdom. And we'll briefly go through the bacteria kingdom as well. So bacteria, what domain? Danielle? Bacteria. They have their own domain, they have their own kingdom. What's the term that we should use for the number of cells? Jaden?
Bacteria is
Unicellular?
Multicellular.
unicellular.
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 I was right.
Don't fall for the pause.
See, yeah.
Your
whenever
teacher
you-
pauses and gives you a look like this, then
That's
you
what
just
my
change your
principal
answer.
Yeah.
I don't know why she's giving the look and I just.
Yeah,
He's
Sorry.
scared.
no longer. All right, they are prokaryotes. Some are autotrophs, some are heterotrophs. Archaea, bacteria, plants, and fungi all contain a cell wall. Although the cell walls are each sort of composed of different material. It's not the same cellulose found in a plant cell. It's different material.
Is it more condensed?
No, it's just a different type of material that's in the atom. Bacteria are often classified by what their cell wall is composed of and how it reacts to different states. They also reproduce asexually through binary fission, like Archea. So some examples of bacteria: E. coli, Salmonella. You've heard of those from home probably.
Is that how the
How
disease
what?
spreads?
Some.
By binary
Is
fission?
Ebola
Yes.
bacteria?
So just to give you an idea, bacteria are extremely small. Here we have, at least color on this. Here we have
It's got crank.
bacteria, I don't know what happened to the color, but these are individual bacteria colonies on the head of a pin, and these things that look like Cheetos, or they did when the color was on, those are individual single bacteria cells. I don't know.
What the?
Yeah, I wonder if something happened in there. Paul?
Uh-oh.
So bacteria come in different shapes. And we use terms for those shapes. Bacillus is the name for rod-shaped bacteria, kind of cylinders. Spherical bacteria are called coccus. And twisted up bacteria like these are called spirillum. And then often a prefix is used about how they grow in groups. Some bacteria will grow as chains, one linked to another, linked to another. Those are called strepto. Other grow in clusters, groups like a cluster of grapes. Those are called staphylum.
Wait. I think ours is different.
Just put the actual name.
Strepto.
So if you-
Suffixes these?
Prefix. It should say prefix used. That's what was the difference. So what would you call this type of bacteria?
A chain.
Okay.
Strepto.
Strepto, and the shape of each cell? Yep.
Okay.
So that's Streptococcus bacteria. One of those types of bacteria is what causes strep throat. Streptococcus bacteria, the ones that cause strep throat. How about these bacteria?
Staphylo.
Those are all Staphylococcus. These are the bacteria, a type of these bacteria cause staph infections, or MRSA, if you've heard of that infection. How about these?
Spirillum.
Streptobacillus. Yep, strepto because they're growing in chains, one linked to another. Bacillus because they're rod-shaped.
Wasn't backside our nuclear thing? I was watching the yesterday, and they have the Tesseract, which is like an infinite energy source. And
Yeah.
it's something about like